You are now tuned in to the Gurunomics Podcast.
Hey guys, Justin Brock here, back with another Gurunomics podcast episode. And today I have Jeremiah the Bull Evans. Interestingly, when I did my Dropping Bombs episode, I was in the studio recording, and while we were waiting, I found this printout from where he had been on the podcast. His episode hadn't aired yet, and I had read about him. But then I started seeing recently he won the, I don't know exactly what you call it, it's like the $10 million pass-through ClickFunnels Award, which is a big deal, and was presented it on stage at Funnel Hackers. And anybody that follows me knows I love Russell Brunson, man. He's a genius. So super excited to have Jeremiah on. Jeremiah, what's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're welcome. I am appreciative of having you on here. I know you're doing some awesome stuff with Alpha Influence, and just to kind of tee it up, I had listened to a couple of your episodes talking about your backstory. But first, my audience may not heard of you. I need you to go ahead and dive into what is Alpha Influence. How did it get there, and how and why is it not? I had a good alternative. Why is it not called beta followers? So you got Alpha Influence, you got Jeremiah the Bull. Tell us about the evolution of some of that, and what prompted you to start putting out that content.
Yeah, beta followers. That's a good. I'm gonna use that actually. That's
you should put an IG channel called Beta Followers, and it's just like a bunch of weak ass pansy stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a great question. So Alpha Influence, I wanted to start a business where I want to make a difference in people's lives. And the biggest way to make a difference in anyone's lives, this is just how the world works, is to help people make more money, help people in their financial situation. Finances, money, as much as we may not agree with it, it runs the world. It runs our lives. Most divorces happen due to money problems. Most times in my life that I can remember when I was, most scared as a kid, or more, I guess I could feel my parents, were scared, was because of money. It's everything, right? And I believe strongly that, I don't know if anyone knows my background or where the name The Bull came from, but to give kind of people a quick summary, my name used to be the Fat Bull. Right. So I was bullied pretty heavily as a kid, for being too fat. Right. And one of the things these kids used to do to me is they would, beat me up, pin me down, pour chocolate milk on me, stuff tater tots in my mouth, say, the fat bull needs his milk kind of shit. Right. Yeah. And, it got really bad to the point where, I remember, I'll never forget this one day where, I just, there's a group of them. They would always come beat me up. And I had like this bloody nose, chocolate milk in my hair. And I was just crying. Right. I was maybe like 11 at the time, so I was young, just a kid. Right. And I remember rolling over my hands and knees and looking around, and I see all these other kids watching. And the question that went through my mind at that moment was, why won't any of you help me? And I just sat there and I thought, I knew they felt bad. Like, that's the thing, is I watched them, and I can see them, and I'm just sitting there. I'm just like, I just hated my life. I didn't want to, continue down this path. And I just look around and I just think, why won't any of you help me? Your thoughts and prayers and, I'm sorry that happened to you doesn't mean shit. Right. Like, you're just sitting there watching this happen. And, as much as you hate that it happens, you haven't done anything about it. Yeah. So when I went home that day, my dad literally taught me the greatest lesson of my life, which is, the pinnacle of why I've built Alpha Influence, what I based my life around. I went home and my dad basically forced me to make a decision that I was going to either stand up for myself and defend myself and become someone strong enough to defend myself and others, or I will live the rest of my life as someone who gets taken advantage of, beaten up, and someone who he would say, be great or be nothing. Right. Yeah. So that was, and what, he forced me, and I did, I was raised that way. Started, like, when people would mess with me, I would fight. And that was the only way it stopped. Right. And that's when my name change comes from the Fat Bull to the Bull. And, you know, fast forward to today, I wanted to do something that really showed people how to stand up and defend themselves and take control of their own lives in the same way, but not just mentally. I didn't want to just do it mentally. I want to be financially, because at the end of the day, there's so much shit in this world. There's so much evil happening, and we all see it. We all know it's happening. You could just go down the list of things, you know, homelessness, suicide, you know, the suicide pandemic, the drug, trade that we're in with, you know, child sex trafficking, all these things. And if you want to make a difference in the world, if you want to become someone of influence, if you want to become someone who can actually make a difference, then you have to make more money.
Yeah.
You have to become that person who can have that kind of influence, right? And that's why I want to start Alpha Influence. I want to start Alpha Influence to create a movement and to create a group where people can create freedom, and they can create a life where they can actually become someone, an alpha, an influencer, someone who can actually make a difference in this world. And I want to provide the tactics and training in order to help people do that. They could start their own business. They could have success. They create financial freedom so they're not stuck in a W life and honestly just feel like a slave to society. You can change your life, and you can become someone great with these tools. And that's the base around Alpha Influence.
Well, that's awesome, man. And you're right. Sometimes, I don't know if you've read like 48 Laws of Power, but children are kind of the way that they behave is the manifestation of kind of bullying in the purest form. But as you grow older and society tells you as an adult you can't do that, bullying still happens, but it happens in a different way. And if you can't, you know, think outside the box, then you can fall subject to bullying within an occupational standpoint or financially or all these different things. And really the medium between us and what we want in this world is money. And so that is, you know, the way that, you know, you're either going to have to, and there are people like, you know, that you can probably work for to help you get through that. You have to identify them. Like there's people that work for you or me and other people that you can find the right path in that setting. But most occupations, you're going to be within these organizations that you're going to experience that same kind of bullying. They're not, it's not as obvious as chocolate milk and bloody nose. And that kind of sucks, man. You know, I have a boy that's going to be 11 next month. And and he's such a soft-hearted kid. You know, it's just his default is just to be kind and sweet. And those are the ones that get taken advantage of. So, you know, I get it. And thankfully I went into the Marine Corps and they kind of push that, you know, that mindset to where you're a little bit easier to get taken advantage of.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah. Thank you, man. So, but that is something that is really needed. When we lived in Japan, man, societies had this way there of turning everybody into just the beta follower, you know, like really, really soft people. In America and in Japan, in a lot of countries, you used to have these really hard, like guys that couldn't be deterred by opinion. But now it's like they try to box us into being followers or you know, just sheep. And so I think, you know, a lot of what you're doing is trying to wake people up that, first of all, get your mindset right and don't be a follower. Don't be, you know, think for yourself, do what you want to do, and then start to introduce them to mediums, you know, whether it's like, because I've listened to some of your other podcasts you're talking, it doesn't matter what you sell or what you know, what your product or your service is, just got to be a medium to provide value to climb. But then you start talking about, you know, getting into real estate and using like permanent life insurance as a legacy play. So what I was going to ask you is, like, in this process that you have I think you have three tiers of kind of like that, you know, wealth building. And so in that, you know, I've kind of listened to a lot of guys that'll talk about, you know, having 7 sources of income, or I think it's a Warren Buffett thing, all this kind of stuff. And I preach to people, like, find a vertical and then do really well in that vertical, and then you know, once you've attained a certain level, I think it's hard for people to know what's that certain level. I have some guys that are like, all right, I'm selling insurance now. I'm making 75,000 a year. I'm going to start divesting into stocks and crypto and real estate. It's like, you don't have enough money yet. You got to climb that vertical further. Do you talk to people about like, when is the time to start divesting, and do you divest in one thing at a time and start to build that? Some people try to skip it. Like, all right, I'm going to sell this, I'm going to do this. And then they're like spread too thin right out of the gate. I think that's a problem I see in people that develop the alpha influence mentality. Like, you've got their mindset right, but now they're like, practically, when do I do X, Y, and Z? By the way, I've seen your dogs on Instagram and they're pretty cool.
Hey, puppies. My apologies. Take a dog bark out.
No, that's fine.
If you want to see come here, introduce yourselves to the crowd. No. No, what you just said is so important, especially with social media, especially with Instagram. Everyone wants to be an investor, right? Because everyone sees investing and they see the passiveness of having all this money, investing, and being able to let someone else run the business or run the investment, or let the investment pour out some, residuals or whatever, and they can just sit back and relax, right? Everyone dreams of that. And so they want to start getting into investing right away. And in my I'm glad you're talking about this vertical, because in my opinion, you shouldn't be focused on any other investment besides yourself and your own business until you have at least $100,000 stashed away in cash.
Yeah.
Because at that point, and I think Warren Buffett talks about this, if you don't at least have $100,000 in cash stashed away, your investments are very minimal. I mean, it's good to build up some things and stash some money in certain places, but at a certain point, the best investment you'll ever make is you and your own business. That will grow your wealth and grow your skill set the most. And that's why actually the Triforce of Wealth that I talk about is what I tell people where to put their money. But what I really tell people is the first thing you focus on is your business. When people come work for me in Alpha Influence, I tell them all, you don't technically work for me. You are a private contractor with me. You start your own business. You sign a 1099 with me. Now, congratulations, you're a business owner. Every sale you make with me is into your business. And the more you scale your business, the more I teach you how to operate it like a business, the more success you'll have, which is crucial in a business like real estate or life insurance, or it's in a sales game where you're 1099. So many people I've met sign up for these, 1099 private contract jobs with their social. I'm like, no, start an LLC, set up as your business, and let me show you how to run this as a business. Let me show you how to scale it as a business, not just as an employee, as a business owner. And, like we're saying, like if you get into real estate, if you get into life insurance as your main business focus, it honestly doesn't matter. Just invest as much as you can into that business, into what you're doing, into your mindset, into your training. Honestly, people see the blow up of Alpha Influence. What they don't see is literally the hundreds of thousands of dollars I invested into courses, masterminds, just trainings and programs before it actually blew up, right? I was working and doing sales and doing it just me, myself. No one else was selling. I was just the one selling. And because that's all I had, I could only afford myself, right? Yeah. And so instead of, trying to, stash this money in other businesses, I stashed the money back into me, which is so scary for a lot of people because it doesn't show an immediate return. You see your account go down and this money gets spent to somewhere else, some other dude who trains you on something. Some people hate that. But in my mind, that was the best thing I could have ever done. Absolutely. Because the more skilled I am, I know if I carry these skill sets, I'll make money for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right. The skill sets that I carry will pay me bigger dividends than any other investment for the rest of my life. And I can always lean back on that. Even if all my investments go sideways, I don't care because I know I'm good at something and I can make money. I'm never
like what they say. If you took all the wealth in like the United States right now and just gave it away and everybody started back at zero.
Yep.
It would take, I don't know what I've heard the thing, it'd take about a year before the wealth distribution would look exactly the same as it did before, because the same people know how to amass the wealth. It's the knowledge. Yes. It's not who has the most money. And there's another statistic says, I think it's 70% of the Forbes 400 list, it created their wealth within their lifetime. A lot of people think they inherited it, but it's actually the overwhelming majority created it within their lifetime.
Yes.
So it's definitely skill.
Yeah, that's why anyone who wins the lottery, it's gone.
It's gone.
There's a crazy statistic of the majority of people who win the lottery lose all their money within a year.
Yeah.
And we're talking millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you took that and gave it to somebody who already knows how to make money, it's just gonna be like gasoline. It's kind of like, what they say about Trump, as divisive as he is like, he inherited some money and took some money. A lot of people would have taken that and pissed it away, but he turned it into 10 times bigger. So it's, now I like to think if I inherited that much, I would have made it 100 times bigger, but it's the homage is like most people aren't good at that. They don't know what to do with it. They want to spend it. They want to splurge it. They let people take advantage of them because they don't know any better. And people are lining their own pockets in the name of investing your money for you. Our vertical, at my core business is the Medicare senior market. So there's some life insurance, Medicare, so we focus on.
Great business, right?
Train agents on. It's a great. Baby boomers are exploding. It's but I always tell people, like, we're building a brand, we're building relationships, we're learning about the advertising side of it. So if Medicare, people are like, Medicare for all goes through, I think that we're a long way off from it actually happening. But if it did, for me, it's like, okay, I'm just going to pivot. We still have relationships. We still have our knowledge of advertising, our knowledge of influence. Those are things you can't take away. We're just going to pivot and go to another. We're going to go to financial services. We can go to real estate, whatever it is. I also have a thing I say for my guys when they're selling insurance. A lot of them want to sell insurance and sell real estate. I tell them, sell insurance, invest in real estate, but not too quickly. You got to make some money first. So,
you got to make. And I agree with that. I mean, if people try to focus on too many things, and when I talk about a Triforce of Wealth, you shouldn't have, all these different things going on and train your focus. That's just where you stash your cash, right? Like, I buy into businesses, but when I buy into them, I'm not going to focus on it at all. I'm giving you here all this cash to invest in the business, and you run with it. Right. I don't want to spend my time. I don't want to spend my time with anything else except for my business. Right. The cash I stash away anywhere else, it should be something that I don't focus on at all. I'm not selling all these other different things. I just want to focus on one thing, Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. So when you have people come in you can correct me if I'm wrong, Alpha Influence as a company has a program you can join and come and do like a live event with the bull, right? When you go over that, you're going over the Triforce for Wealth, you're going over influence. How much of it is mindset? How much of it is practical information? How long is that course? Give us kind of an overview of what that looks like if somebody was to do that. Yeah,
I mean, it's mostly mostly mindset, but I can give you the tactical information really quick, So it's probably about half and half. We go actually time frame. But what I really need to nail into people's heads more so than anything is, if you don't have the courage to actually just go and do this, just implement what I'm saying, it's not going to matter. Right. And if you're not doing it for the right reasons, it's not going to matter. Right. Yeah. So about half the time we're talking about the Triforce of Wealth and details and how to implement that and answering Q&A and what people need to do in their own situations. And, because everyone starts at different levels. Right. But a big part of that is, this information, like what I talk about the Triforce of Wealth, it's really not rocket science. I'm not reinventing. I'm actually just talking about what all these really wealthy people have taught me, and so out there for people to do. The only reason why they haven't implemented it yet is because they just are too scared to do it.
Yeah. They don't believe, even if they think they believe it, they don't believe it enough. So probably one of the biggest things that you can do as a coach is help them believe it, help them develop the courage to act on the knowledge that they have, maybe giving some additional information, but it's a push. It's being exposed to the right push. And I find that, for a long time, I was a skeptic of information. I would go, it's probably one of the reasons I brought into Russell Brunson's. It felt more like tactical, right? And then the longer I was around him, I was like, there is a lot of mindset in what he's saying. And then I was buying like courses from Dan Henry. Then I got more into, your Grant Cardones and your Coach Burts out there, the people that are talking more mindset stuff. And I realized that different people struggle with different things. And for a lot of people, for me, probably kudos to the Marine Corps, the mindset portion wasn't there. It's like I always had the grind to do it. But there was a belief aspect.
Yes.
I was so skeptical of what people were saying that I was like, no, you got to work, you got to do this. And it's this hard. And there are things that are hard, right? But there were things that I almost talked myself out of early on because I thought they were too good to be true, that they weren't because I was so skeptical. So there is a lot of mindset in every level. And that's coming from somebody that I didn't have a mindset of not going and doing, putting one foot in front of the other issue. I didn't have an issue like that. I had an issue with thinking, okay, this is the path. That's a shiny object. That's a shiny object. And then there's the other person that he believes in everything, but he can't put one foot in the front of the other and focus on one thing. So there's, I'm sure you see that when you guys bring in, like, there's people that have different issues with their mindset. One might be that he's shiny object syndrome. He can't focus. Then there's another guy that doesn't believe in anything. He's skeptical. And then there's people all in between that. So, I think that's an important aspect. What you're doing is trying to give them the right push. Yeah.
I mean, you will never, ever out-earn your identity. You will never out-earn who you think you are. Right. And that's so important, because for me, a lot of people will say, like, oh, is this business going to work? Is this real estate investment going to work? Is this going to work? So they get so skeptical about it. But the real badass motherfucker entrepreneur, it goes, I will make it work. They don't say, will it work? It is some business. It is some real estate. It doesn't work unless you work. So if you know you and you believe in you and your ability to go make it happen, you will make it work. No matter where you go, no matter what you do, you can find a way to make it work. And if you believe in yourself that much, then you'll make it work. You'll dive in. You'll be willing to take the risk because you know you can bet on you. Right? It's like you'll never out-earn your identity ever. We're talking about these people there. There's an interesting thing of, like, there's people who, have shiny object thing. They chase it around. And then there's people who, just can't put one foot in the other. And all of that stems down to a lack of self-belief, right? It all, at the end of the day, stems from a lack of self-belief, because shiny object, they're trying to find something that'll work. Over here, can't put one foot in front of the other just because they don't think it's going to work. It's also always this like, oh, I don't know if it's going to work. But at the end of the day, if you just have this infused self-belief of, I can make whatever I want happen, I can make this work, I can do the research, I can hire coaches, I can learn the business, I can figure it out. If you believe in yourself to that aptitude, you'll never, ever, have this, idea of, like, oh, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do this. You say, I'll make it work, And that's what I tell people. Like I talk to people all the time, like, oh, is this going to work? I'm like, well, if you make it work, it will. Every single person who comes works for me gets the same opportunity. And it's so amazing to watch the people scale up extremely quickly. I have students who are making 7 figures a year because they've implemented, they actually take action. But then there's also people who sit in the exact same trainings as that person who's now making 7 figures. And this person somehow found all the excuses in the world to not do it. And at the end of the day, if you're full of excuses just because you're full of shit and you don't believe in yourself, And I don't think hard work is enough anymore. If I know some really, really hardworking people that don't make a lot of money, that don't make it. It's not just about hard work. It's about, it's about being resourceful. It's about, understanding that you don't know everything. So you're going to go learn from people, being coachable. There's so many more things that it's just not just about hard work anymore. It's about hard work plus all these other things that you have to be able to implement. And at the end of the day, you just have to be able to believe in yourself and go make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I love the way you started there, saying maybe what I titled this podcast is you can't out-earn your identity.
Amen.
That's the perfect summary of, if you don't truly believe it and you don't develop the characteristics, the skill set, the training, the mindset, because it really does come back to, where's my mindset at? You could take a brand new, person, God made him. He's sitting right here. He knows nothing, but he gave him the full belief that he can do whatever he wants to do. And that power of that belief means he's going to go and do whatever it takes because he believes it, so forth. So if you have that 100% level of belief, then it doesn't really matter what the obstacles are. You're like, oh, okay, I believe I'm going to do it. So the obstacles are just part of the path to doing it. And I already know I'm going to do it. So I got to get through that obstacle. So
there's 7 billion people on this earth, right? And if all 7 billion people on this earth believed in you, but you didn't believe in you, it doesn't fucking matter. But if 7 billion people on this earth didn't believe in you, but you believed in you, then that makes all the difference in the world. Yeah. And that just like it literally doesn't matter. No one can believe in you more than you. They can believe in you as much as you, but no one can ever out-believe you. You have to believe in you more than anyone else on this earth. Yeah. Right? And that what is that self-belief? That's just confidence, right? I am confident in who I am and what I can do. And I love that thought of like, if I believe in me and everyone else in this world doesn't believe in me, I still have the power. Yeah. If everyone else didn't believe in me, it wouldn't matter if I didn't believe in myself. And I just showed like, that's at the end of the day, what it all comes down to. Can you have the balls, the courage in yourself, the conviction to go make it happen? And if you don't believe in yourself, you will not do it. You will not have the courage. You will not take those steps. You can be full of all the knowledge in the world and never do anything about it.
Yeah. I've seen that. I've seen the people that go out and get every single skill and make make very little income, and then I've seen the guys that know almost nothing that can make a ton of money because they have the grit and the grind and the belief. And they're like, I'll figure the skills out on the way, but I'm going towards my goal. And the other guys think they get that analysis of paralysis of analysis, where they just think, I got to know every single thing before I can ever start. Oh man, those are the couple of guys that frustrate me the most, because I'm like, more about what I sell and my services and my business than I know about it, but I'm making 10 times what you do.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense. But well, man, I appreciate you being on here. If people wanted to get in touch with the Bull and try to check out Alpha Influence, where would they go? I know you're very active on Instagram, but what else?
Yeah, the Bull Evans on Instagram. TheBullEvans.com is a website we just launched about a month ago. If people want to learn more about me and Alpha Influence, they can go to TheBullEvans.com or TheAlphaInfluence.com. Or they can follow me on YouTube, The Bull, or even TikTok, The Bull Evans. Yeah. Try to keep it thing. So yeah, that'd be the best way.
Yeah, so you have a massive following on Instagram. So when Instagram went down the other day, Facebook and Instagram. So my following is bigger on Facebook. That's it's just where I started. It grew really organically there. And when it went down the other day, we have a decent YouTube channel. I started going on making YouTube shorts, and one of them I made that kind of it had got a decent amount of views pretty quick. Was I made just a quick one where I said, when Facebook and Instagram go down, and that's where all your following and your business followers are, and you immediately go and make YouTube shorts, and it kind of blew up because people were thinking, it was a concern. Thankfully, it came back up, and hopefully Facebook gets to the end of their whole whatever drama they're dealing with, but. Did you so I hear you saying TikTok, YouTube, and so as you've scaled, it seems like you scaled one social vertical, if you will, and then but now you're like, okay, I got one, and and this is something I deal with people when they're talking about where should I start on social media, and I kind of tell them to hone in on one thing. I'm not saying don't put content everywhere, but it's really difficult from inception with no money and no following to grow all the verticals simultaneously. It is a lot easier, I feel like, to really focus on one and just be persistent in content. It sounds like that's what you've done, and now kind of branching out too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, once you get to a point where I have a full media team that is mainly handling all social media channels. The thing is, I have to hire a whole team to manage all that, right? I mean, between two podcasts, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, between all of them together, all the comments, all the posting, all the different ways you have to post it for the algorithm. Like it's a full-time job for multiple people, right?
Yeah.
But anyone who tries to, venture out and do all of them at once on their own, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. I mean, someone could do it, but at the end of the day, you'll actually grow more and you'll grow faster if you focus on TikTok and your TikTok blows up, because naturally that will bleed into the others, right? That's what I grew on my Instagram, and I'm bleeding into the others. My following, I'm telling them to follow me here, follow me here. That's how almost everyone I know who has grown quickly has done it, whether it's on TikTok, they blew up on TikTok, then sent people their way, or it's Logan Paul where he blew up on Vine and then sent everyone else to everything else. No one starts by being popular on all of them. Everyone starts with one and then leads into the others.
That's exactly right. I mean, I think Ty Lopez started heavy on YouTube. Mine was Facebook, and I've used Facebook to fuel the YouTube growth. Mm-hmm. And then now that we have those two, and I do have a videographer and graphic designer on staff, now we can maybe start to push a little more into TikTok and LinkedIn. We've done a little bit there, but it's difficult to grow them all simultaneously. And if you really did that, you're basically doing the full-time job of a media team, but you still got to make money in the beginning, until you get to the point where you have people selling for you.
It's absolutely. You're exactly right.
So social media is just like business. You got one vertical, you got to scale one, and then you can start to branch out into the other one. So, well, man, I appreciate you being here. By the way, I wanted to say this. I'm really jealous of your warehouse with weights and old Mustangs and Lamborghinis. I'm like, where does this guy like it's like you live in like Mansville or something in that pit, like you got your dogs and your weight set and all this stuff here. Anyway, I look it up, so it's got me thinking we put a big rack of dumbbells in our office, so I'm gonna start posting sweat equity in my story and tagging you in it. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I hate public gyms, so I said, I'm going to build my own gym.
Yeah. Hey, with COVID, you couldn't trust them. They kept shutting them down and stuff. So if you got your own, you ain't got to worry about it.
I ain't got to worry about it. That's right.
That's what Mike Tyson said on that Patrick Bet-David interview, that they couldn't shut his flight down as he's got his own jet.
That's right. We all got to.
That's right. Well, thanks so much, man. We'll get this out there. And if anybody is looking to connect with Jeremiah, just hit him up on thealphainfluence.com or over on Instagram. Talk to you guys soon. Did you subscribe to the YouTube channel? Did you like the video? Please turn your notifications on and head over here to our next video. And if you haven't joined our Facebook group, check out Medicare Gurus. It's over 7,000 members strong currently, and there's tons and tons, a wealth of information and knowledge from experienced agents as well as new agents that you can find and help shepherd. So thank you guys so much for watching. Check this video out right here.